"You don't leave this table until you apologize," my father barked. My brother grinned. I looked at him and said, "All right." The next day, he knocked on my door smugly and found nothing but an empty room. Then the lawyer arrived, voice shaking. "Sir, the ownership shift is irreversible. My name is Rachel, and I'm 32 years old. 3 months ago, I did something that changed everything. You know how some families have that one golden child? In mine, that was my brother Marcus, and me. I was invisible. It was a Tuesday evening in Charleston. Weekly family dinner at Dad's house, just him, Marcus, and me. Marcus had closed some big tech deal, and Dad was practically worshiping him. I'd just been promoted to senior architect after 6 years of work, but when I mentioned it, Dad waved his hand like swatting a fly. "That's nice, Rachel." Then Marcus made a joke about me being single, too career focused, not settled down like a normal woman. He laughed. Dad laughed. "That's not funny," I said quietly. "Don't be so sensitive," Marcus rolled his eyes. "I'm asking you to stop." Dad's face went cold. He put down his fork. "You don't leave this table until you apologize." "Apologize? For what?" "For disrespecting your brother, for ruining this dinner." Marcus was grinning. Actually grinning. I looked at my father and something inside me snapped, not in anger, in clarity. "All right," I said. They thought I was apologizing. Instead, I stood up, grabbed my purse, and walked out. Do you think I did the right thing? That night, driving home with shaking hands, I remembered something important. 3 years ago, my grandmother, the only person who truly loved me, had passed away. She'd left me her entire estate, the beach house in Myrtle Beach, investment portfolio, everything. Dad didn't know that. He'd been living in that beach house, rent-free for 2 years, making plans to use Grandma's money for Marcus's startup. The next morning, I called Grandma's lawyer. "I'm ready to finalize everything, start the eviction process." But it wasn't just about the house. Grandma had also left me 40% of the family construction business, the one Dad ran. He had no idea. The papers were filed Friday. I packed my important things that weekend and waited. Monday morning, Marcus showed up at my apartment, knocking hard. "Rachel, Dad wants you to apologize properly." I watched through the peephole, didn't move, didn't answer. He left after 5 minutes. My phone exploded with calls. I ignored them. I was busy presenting my community center design. The clients loved it. Dad's voicemail was ice. "Rachel, this is childish. We're family." Family. What do you think that word really means? Tuesday, the eviction notice was served. Dad called 17 times. I was in a meeting about my promotion, 23% raise. His next voicemail was pure panic. "What the hell is this? A lawyer says I have to vacate. There must be a mistake." No mistake. Wednesday, Marcus texted, "Whatever you're doing, stop it. You're embarrassing yourself." I replied, "Good, I'm not." Thursday, the lawyer called. "Your father and brother want a meeting." I told them the transfer is legal and irreversible. Friday, exactly 1 week after that dinner, there was a knock. I opened the door to find Dad, Marcus, and Margaret, the lawyer. Dad's face was red. "We need to talk about this misunderstanding." There's no misunderstanding. Grandma left me her estate. I'm the owner." "But that house, I've been maintaining it rent-free for 2 years. Marcus stepped forward. "You can't just kick Dad out. What about family?" I looked at him. "What about it, Marcus?" Margaret spoke calmly. "Gentlemen, the ownership transfer is complete and irreversible. Mr. Peterson, you have 23 days remaining." Dad's voice shook. "Rachel, please, can we talk?" Do you think I should have talked to them? Because what I didn't know was that Dad had made promises he couldn't keep. Promises that were about to crash down on all of us. Very soon, everything was going to get much more complicated. I didn't answer Dad's question. Instead, I looked at Margaret and said, "Is there anything else legally required?" "No, we're done here." I started closing the door. Dad actually put his hand out to stop it. "Rachel, wait. Just 5 minutes. Please." There was something in his voice I'd never heard before. Fear, maybe? I hesitated, then stepped back and let them in. But I didn't sit down, didn't offer them anything. just crossed my arms and waited. Marcus immediately started. Look, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is insane. You're really going to throw Dad out on the street over a stupid argument? A stupid argument? I repeated slowly. Is that what you think this is about? What else would it be about? He genuinely looked confused. Imagine being so blind you can't even see your own cruelty. Dad cleared his throat. Rachel, I know I was harsh at dinner. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe? But this is extreme. The house, the business shares. Grandma wouldn't have wanted this. That's when I laughed. Actually laughed. You didn't know Grandma at all, did you? His face went pale. She told me, Dad. Right before she died, she said, don't let them make you small, Rachel. She knew exactly what she was doing. Marcus scoffed. Oh, please, you probably manipulated an old woman. Finish that sentence, I said quietly. I dare you. He shut up. Finally. Dad sat down heavily on my couch, uninvited. The business, Rachel. I've made commitments, contracts. If you suddenly show up with 40% ownership... What kind of commitments? He didn't answer, just looked at Margaret. Can we discuss this privately? Family matter? I'm family, I said, so discuss it. Do you think he deserved privacy after everything? Dad rubbed his face. I took out loans against the business for Marcus's expansion. Marcus's head whipped around. What? I was going to pay them back with Grandma's estate money, once probate cleared. You used the business as collateral? I asked. Without full ownership rights? Margaret's eyebrows went up. That was bad. Really bad. I assumed... Dad trailed off. You assumed you'd inherit everything. I finished, even though Grandma and you barely spoke the last 5 years of her life. She was difficult. She asked you to visit. You were always too busy. The room went silent. Marcus looked between us, finally understanding something was very wrong. How much? I asked. How much did you borrow? 400,000. Marcus went white. Dad, that's almost everything I needed for... I know, Dad snapped. I was handling it. By stealing from an inheritance that wasn't yours, I said. I wasn't stealing. I'm her son. And I'm her granddaughter, the one she actually left it to. Margaret cleared her throat. Mr. Peterson, this is venture into financial matters that require separate legal counsel. I know what you suggest, Dad said bitterly. He looked at me. So what now? You're going to destroy the family business, put me in bankruptcy? What would you do in my position? I walked to my window, looked out at the street. My apartment was small, but mine. I'd earned it. Everything I had, I'd earned. I want, I said slowly, an apology. A real one. Fine, I'm sorry. Not to me. I turned around. To Mom. You should have seen his face. Your mother is dead, Rachel. I know. That's why you can write it. A letter. Apologizing for how you treated her. For making her feel invisible. For choosing Marcus over both of us every single time. That's insane. That's my condition. You write the letter, you read it at her grave, and I witness it. Then we talk about the business. Marcus stood up. This is blackmail. No, Margaret said quietly. It's a personal request. The business matters are separate legal issues. Dad stared at me like he'd never seen me before. You really hate me that much? I don't hate you at all, I said, and I meant it. But I'm done being invisible. Mom was invisible too, and I think it's time someone acknowledged that. He left without another word. Marcus followed, shooting me a look I couldn't quite read. After they were gone, Margaret turned to me. That was... unexpected. Good unexpected, or bad unexpected? Honest unexpected. She paused. For what it's worth, your grandmother would be proud. That night, I got a text from someone I hadn't heard from in years. My cousin Diane, Dad's sister's daughter. We'd been close as kids, but drifted apart. Heard what happened. Your dad called my mom freaking out. Just want you to know, I'm proud of you. Grandma Rachel talked about you all the time. Said you were the strong one. Guess she was right. I cried reading that. First time I'd cried since this whole thing started. The next week was quiet, too quiet, no calls, no texts, nothing. Then on Thursday, I got a call from Margaret. Rachel, we have a problem. Your brother filed a legal challenge to the will. My stomach dropped. Can he do that? He can try. It won't succeed. The will is airtight, but it'll tie things up for months, maybe a year. Of course Marcus would do that, but what they didn't know was that I'd already made my next move. And when they found out, everything was going to change. Let me tell you what happened next. Marcus's legal challenge was filed on Friday. By Monday, I'd made 3 calls that changed everything. First, I'm taking the Singapore project. The 6-month overseas job I'd turned down twice. Second, list my apartment, furnished, 30 days. Third, Margaret, transfer my business shares into a trust, make the beneficiary my mom's name, Sarah Peterson. Your mother's deceased. I know, just do it. Do you think I was running away? 2 days later, Dad showed up at my office. Security called. He wouldn't leave the lobby. I went down. He looked terrible. You're leaving the country? I got a job offer. I'm taking it. Because of us. Because of me. For once. His jaw worked. The letter. To your mother. I wrote it. I froze. You what? I'll read it at her grave. Today. Right now. Just don't leave like this. Okay, 3 o'clock. At 2:45, I arrived at the cemetery. Mom's grave overlooked a pond. Dad was there, Marcus too, and, surprise, my cousin Diane. What are you doing here? Marcus asked her. Rachel invited me, Diane lied. I loved her for showing up. Dad pulled out a folded paper. His hands shook. Sarah, I'm sorry. His voice cracked. I'm sorry I didn't fight harder when you got sick. I'm sorry I threw myself into work instead of being with you. I'm sorry I made you feel alone. He wiped his eyes. I'm sorry I did the same thing to Rachel. You begged me to take care of her, to see her, and I didn't. What would you feel hearing this? You were right about everything, about Rachel being special, having your strength, your heart. I didn't want to see it because it reminded me of losing you. He looked at me. I failed you both, and I'm sorry. Silence. Even Marcus looked shaken. Then Diane spoke. Uncle Robert, Grandma Rachel called me before she died. She said you were making the same mistakes your dad made with you. Dad's head snapped up. What? Grandpa always favored your brother, made you feel invisible. She said you were doing the same to Rachel. Dad's face changed. Oh God. Marcus stepped forward. What does this... Shut up, Marcus, I said tiredly. For once, just be quiet. He listened. Diane continued. Grandma knew about the will. She asked me to watch out for Rachel. I should have reached out sooner. Dad sat down on the grass. I need to fix this. You can't fix it, I said. Not quickly, maybe not ever. Then what do you want? Marcus spoke up quietly. She wants what I got. She wants to matter. Everyone stared at him. I'm not stupid. I just didn't think it was my problem. He shrugged. At least he was honest. I sat next to Dad. The business loans. Who knows? Just the bank and Marcus. Then here's what happens. I'm still leaving for Singapore, but Diane becomes my proxy for the business shares. What? They said together. She's a CPA. She's honest. She's not emotionally involved. I looked at Diane. You game? Yes, absolutely. You have 6 months to fix the loan situation. Diane monitors everything. If you default, she votes to restructure, possibly sell. Dad looked up. And the beach house? I'm keeping it. But you can stay until you find something else. 6 months. Pay utilities. Rachel, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because Mom would want me to be better than you were. Do you think I was too soft? Marcus cleared his throat. I'll drop the lawsuit. Why? He looked at Mom's grave. Because she would have hated this. Most mature thing I'd ever heard from him. Diane walked me to my car later. You just gave them a chance they don't deserve. That's grace. Or weakness. Same thing sometimes. She hugged me. Go to Singapore, come back different. What if they haven't changed? Then at least you gave them the chance. I flew out 12 days later. The night before, I got texts. Dad, thank you. I'll do better. Marcus, I'm sorry, really sorry. I didn't respond. I was done carrying their emotions. But what happened while I was gone? 6 months is a long time. People either grow up or they don't. What I came home to, nobody saw that coming. Singapore was exactly what I needed. New city, new projects, new people who knew nothing about my family drama. I worked 12-hour days designing a waterfront complex and actually felt happy. Diane sent monthly updates. Dad had refinanced the loans, barely. Marcus had scaled back his expansion plans. The business was stable, boring updates, which meant things were okay. I didn't call home, didn't text, just worked and lived. Then 5 months in, Diane called instead of emailing. Rachel, don't freak out. My stomach dropped. What happened? Your dad's in the hospital, heart attack, he's stable, but I'm coming home. Rachel, you don't have to. I'm coming home. I was on a plane 16 hours later. Marcus picked me up from the airport. We hadn't spoken in 5 months. He looked different, thinner, tired. Thanks for coming, he said quietly. How is he? Recovering. They said stress was a factor. He glanced at me. He's been working crazy hours trying to fix everything before you got back. We drove in silence. Then Marcus said, I've been going to therapy. I looked at him. What? Therapy? Diane suggested it, said if I wanted to understand why I'm such an ass, I should talk to someone. He half smiled. Turns out I'm actually kind of insecure. Who knew? Marcus, I'm serious. The therapist said I built my whole identity on being Dad's favorite because I was terrified of being invisible, like... He trailed off. Like me, I finished. Yeah. What would you say to that? We got to the hospital. Dad was awake, hooked up to monitors. He looked small in the bed. Old. Rachel, he said, voice rough, you came. Of course I came. I didn't think, after everything. I pulled up a chair. How are you feeling? Like an idiot. He tried to laugh, winced. Doctor said I need to reduce stress, delegate more, maybe retire early. That's probably smart. I talked to the board about the loans, about everything, came clean. He looked at me. Diane helped me prepare the presentation. She's good, really good. She is. I also told them about your shares, about you being part owner. They want to meet you. I'm not staying, Dad. I have 1 more month in Singapore. His face fell. Oh, right, of course. Marcus spoke from the doorway. Actually, about that. Your firm called me last week. They're opening a permanent Singapore office. Asked if I knew whether you'd consider staying on to run it. I stared at him. They called you? I'm listed as your emergency contact. Was gonna tell you, but... He gestured at Dad. Dad's monitor beeped faster. You're moving to Singapore? Permanently? I don't know. They just offered. That's a big opportunity, Dad said slowly, painfully, like each word cost him something. It is. You should take it. His eyes were wet. You should take it, Rachel. Don't stay because of me. Imagine hearing that from the man who never saw you before. A nurse came in, checked Dad's vitals, told us he needed rest. Marcus and I went to the cafeteria. He's different, I said. He's scared. Marcus stirred his coffee. He thought he was dying, had this whole moment of clarity or whatever. Started making amends with everyone, called Aunt Lisa, apologized for missing her wedding 5 years ago, donated to Mom's Cancer Foundation, even visited Grandma's grave every week. Every week? Brought flowers, talked to her. I followed him once. Don't look at me like that. I was worried. He cried, Rachel. Like, really cried. I didn't know what to say. The thing is, Marcus continued, I think he finally gets it. What he lost, what he almost lost. He looked at me. I get it too now. What I did to you, how I treated you. Marcus, let me finish, please. He took a breath. I was jealous. Of you? Isn't that insane? I had everything. Dad's attention, the money, the support, and I was jealous because you didn't need any of it. You succeeded anyway. You were strong anyway, and I hated that. Do you think people can really change? I don't need you to forgive me, he said. I just need you to know I see you now. I see what I did, and I'm sorry. My phone buzzed. Diane. At the house. Prepared something. Come when you can. Diane's at the beach house? I asked Marcus. Yeah, she's been staying there, helping Dad sort through stuff. She found something you need to see. We drove to Myrtle Beach. The house looked better than I remembered. Fresh paint, new garden beds. Diane met us at the door. Before you go in, she said, just know we didn't touch anything. We found it like this. She led me to Grandma's old study. The room was full of boxes, photo albums, letters, journals. Your dad found these in the attic, Diane explained. Letters your mom wrote to Grandma. Dozens of them. I picked up one, Mom's handwriting, dated 2 months before she died. Rachel is so much like you, Mom. Strong. Smart. She doesn't see it yet, but she will. Robert doesn't know how to handle it. He's scared of strong women, always has been. But Rachel will be fine. She'll figure it out. I just wish I could be there to see it. My hands shook. There's more, Diane said softly. Keep reading. What those letters said, what my mom had planned, what Grandma had known, it explained everything. And it meant the choice I had to make was way more complicated than I thought. Let me tell you how this all ended. I spent 2 hours reading Mom's letters. She'd written about everything, her fears, her hopes, her frustrations with Dad, but mostly she wrote about me. Make sure Rachel knows she's enough, that she doesn't need their approval to be extraordinary. She already is. The last letter was to me, sealed. Grandma had kept it all these years. My darling Rachel, if you're reading this, it means Grandma knew it was time. I'm so proud of who you're becoming. Don't let your father's blindness dim your light. Don't let Marcus's insecurity make you small. Be bold, be free. And remember, forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you choosing peace. I love you forever. Mom, I cried. Diane held me. Marcus stood in the doorway, silent. The next morning, I went back to the hospital. I read Mom's letters. I told Dad. He nodded. I did too, last week. He looked broken. She saw everything. And I ignored her. Yeah, you did. I don't know how to fix 30 years of mistakes, Rachel. You can't, but you can do better now. I pulled my chair closer. I'm taking the Singapore position, but I'm coming back every few months, and when I do, we're having dinner. Real dinner, where you actually see me. I will, I promise. And Marcus is going to keep going to therapy. Marcus nodded from the doorway. Already scheduled. And you, I looked at Dad, are going to retire. Let Diane and the board run things. Actually rest. What about your shares? Diane keeps them as proxy, but I want quarterly updates, real ones. Dad's eyes filled with tears. You're giving me another chance. Mom would want me to, and honestly, I want to too, but this is the last one, Dad. Do you think I made the right choice? 3 weeks later, I was back in Singapore, but this time it felt different. I wasn't running, I was choosing. Dad started sending me photos, him at Grandma's grave, him and Marcus at lunch, him actually smiling. Marcus sent me therapy updates and terrible jokes. Diane sent business reports and gossipy family news. 6 months after that, I came home for Thanksgiving. The whole family gathered at the beach house, my beach house. Dad cooked. Marcus brought his new girlfriend. Diane brought her kids. Even Aunt Lisa came. We went around the table saying what we were grateful for. When it was Dad's turn, he looked right at me. I'm grateful Rachel didn't give up on us, even when we deserved it. Marcus raised his glass. To Rachel, the strongest person I know. To Rachel, everyone echoed. I felt Mom's presence so strongly in that moment. Felt Grandma smiling. To family, I said, the real kind, where everyone actually shows up. We clinked glasses. Later, Dad pulled me aside on the porch. Your mother would be so proud of you. I know, I said. I finally believe that. He hugged me. Really hugged me. For the first time in maybe ever. I love you, Rachel. I'm sorry it took me so long to show it. I love you too, Dad. And I meant it. So that's my story. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't easy, but it was real. And in the end, we found our way back to each other, not because everything was fixed, but because we were all finally willing to try. What do you think? Did I handle it right? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this story, please hit like. If something didn't sit right with you, share your opinion. I read every comment. Thanks for listening. It means more than you know.